Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has been summoned in a coal case. In fact, he has been summoned as an accused in the Hindalco case. My colleague Tonima now joining us for more on that. Tonima, what more details can you give us about this?
That's right. In fact, the news has just come out from a Delhi court here. The special CBI court looking into the Hindalco case filed by the CBI. And just a short while back, the latest development which has taken is that the court has in fact taken cognizance of the final investigation report which had been filed by the CBI only a few days back in this matter. And in that report, the CBI had in fact mentioned the names of 6 entities, one entity and 5 other people, including Messrs. Hindalco, the company, Shubhendu Bhattacharya, K.M. Birla, P.C. Parak, and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who was the then coal minister when the allocation matter of Talabira was, 2 and 3 had in fact come up with relation to Hindalco. So the final investigation report had in fact mentioned these 6 names, and the special CBI court has taken cognizance of that final report and summoned all representatives from all these 6 names which have in fact mentioned in that report on the 8th of April. So including the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has been named as an accused, and summon orders have in fact been issued by the court. So this is a huge development in this case, as we have seen that there were several twists and turns have taken place in this case over the past couple of years since the FIR had in fact been lodged. Initially, the CBI had wanted to close the case because they did not find any criminality in this in the allocation of these 2 coal blocks. But then later on, when they went to the court with this closure report and the report was rejected, then CBI had in fact mentioned that they are doing more investigations. The court had also ordered further investigation in this matter, and in December last year, the court had in fact asked the investigative agency to examine a few more people, including the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who was the then coal minister, as I mentioned, and also the former coal secretary P.C. Parak and P.V.R. Subramaniam. So these 3 people had in fact been examined of late by the CBI, after which a final investigation report had been filed by the agency in the court only in February, and taking cognizance of that report, summon orders have been issued by the special CBI court today, including to former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh.
All right, Tonima, do stay with us. Let's get some more details from Sunetra, who now joins us on the phone line. Sunetra, the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh now summoned as an accused by a special court in that coal scam case. He has to appear on the 8th of April. What more details can you give us?
Well, this basically means a huge U-turn on the CBI's case. CBI case, even when we spoke to officers, they were very clear. In fact, right from the very beginning, the former director, Ranjit Sinha, had completely dismissed the idea of even questioning the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, saying that no, this is not at all. In fact, one of the officers had been told off because he wrote on file that maybe we should question Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister, because he was at that time holding the coal portfolio. From that to this day, when the special court not only rejected the idea of closure in this case, but also made new accused, including the then coal minister, means a complete turnaround, a complete 180 degrees on the entire case. Now we have to see how the case proceeds, because now that the court has told these same investigators that, look, all of these people are accused, all of them, they have enough evidence, will the CBI be able to probe along these lines? Now, just speaking to the CBI, if I can tell you, Bani, what officers are saying is that even though Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister, may have been the coal minister, however, it is not, according to them, his complicity. They don't see it, because they see that, look, he would have been advised by people. He did have a meeting as well with Aditya Kumar Mangalam, but this entire thing was, he was relying on the advice of his aides, which is why we saw the top aide, TK Nair, being questioned yet again. He had first been asked to fill a questionnaire, but then he was asked to also undergo formal questioning, which was again ordered by the special court. And so it's interesting how the agency will go about it, because from the time of saying that, look, we don't even want to question Dr. Manmohan Singh, to saying that he's actually an accused in the case, is a complete turnaround. If you look basic the crux of this entire case. What is this case about? The case is about that the screening committee, which comprised these officials and the coal secretary, P.C. Parekh, had initially said Hindalco should not get a coal block allocation. And the case is that despite that, the Birlas, Hindalco did get a coal block allocation. That's the Talabira coal block in Orissa. That is the thing, that they used their influence to get a coal block allocation even though the screening committee had said no. Now the Prime Minister at that time, Dr. Manmohan Singh, came out with a formal statement saying that yes, I have cleared it because we felt that it was okay to clear it. But the CBI prosecutor was the first one to say, look, we don't think the particular nod has been given. Even if the Prime Minister okays it, it should have gone back to the screening committee. The fact that it hasn't gone back to the screening committee, we feel that undue influence has been used by the Birlas in going and meeting. And so it seems that the court has given a lot of importance to the meeting between Dr. Manmohan Singh and Aditya Kumaramangalam Birla.
Right, Sunetra, as you were telling us and giving us details of what exactly this case pertains to and which scam this really was about, but also just take us through what the former Prime Minister had earlier, in fact, talked about in his defense. He had, in fact, given his version of this controversial coal block allocation. And as you're saying that this is a complete U-turn. So just take us through those events as well.
Well, if you look at the statement which was issued, in fact, when the questioning happened of Dr. Manmohan Singh, which happened after this court ordered it, at that time also, they said, look, we've issued our statement, we've said what we had to say, and we are very clear that, sometimes you don't go through the process because the whole case is based on the fact that the normal procedure is that if the screening committee says anything, if there is any change, you will take it back to the screening committee for its approval, for its stamp that, yes, okay, fine, on these particular grounds, we are changing our decision. Now, the Prime Minister's office at that time made out in their whole statement that we were satisfied after they made a representation to us about their viability, about their deservedness for getting this. We were satisfied and so we cleared it. And the Prime Minister is the final authority, so they cleared it. So there was a complete clear defense of it. Now, it's interesting how we look at it because now the CBI will have to prove, first of all, what we do know, Bani, is that in any kind of case like this, you have to have a quid pro quo. So the officials who turned around the decision, what was their motivation for turning it around? There is no CBI evidence for saying that, this was done to get that benefit. They don't have a quid pro quo in this case. And they are saying that the Prime Minister himself is the person, because of that meeting, that he turned it down. They find something undue influence or favor was shown in this case. How the CBI will proceed when most of their officials are actually not convinced is an interesting case study, and perhaps we just have to see how we go about it. Because in this case, you have to also keep in mind, Bani, that in the entire, there are about 35 coal block FIRs, and a significant number of them have now resulted in closure. In many of them, including in this case, a lot of the investigating officers said, no, there is no grounds for closure of the case. And yet the senior officers said that no, there is no evidence to go forward. So when you have this kind of a conflict within the CBI, and that is a very kind of transparent process that they have. When you have a case, when it finally goes to deciding, look, do we file a charge sheet or not, you have from the investigating officer to the SP, the Superintendent of Police, to the DIG, everyone writing what their opinion is. And in all these cases, Ranjit Sinha was the director at that time, had said, look, it doesn't make a case. It doesn't go to a charge sheet. Now from that to the court saying, no, first of all, there should be, you have enough evidence, then to also add another accused, and that to the former Prime Minister. This is totally unprecedented. And really remains to be seen how it will be done. It is obviously going to be a huge political thing as well, because we've seen the coal block allocations right now. As we are speaking, the coal block allocations are being done by bidding. And as you know, the bids have resulted in huge gainfall for the government, adding to more than 2 lakh crores in the bids that they have raised. So politically, it becomes a major point as well while Parliament is on. So politically, investigation-wise, we haven't seen anything like this before. A former Prime Minister being dragged in a case like this, where the CBI had felt that he wasn't liable, but them saying that he was. It is interesting to see how it plays out.
All right, Sunita, thanks very much for taking us through all of those details. The big breaking news coming in at this hour. The ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has now been summoned as an accused by a court here in the capital in the coal block allocation case.